Hey everyone, Tomer here, and in this video we'll talk about web scraping using Python. But first of all, we'll talk about the method of scraping. We can either scrape pages by simply getting the content of the page and parse it, or we can make a more sophisticated scraper that actually visits a page and interacts with the various elements using JavaScript. That's usually done with web automation tools such as Selenium, but it's out of scope for this video. We will be scraping the page by requesting for it and then parsing the various elements we need, and we'll scrape IMDb's for this video, but you can use the same method in order to scrape any kind of website. So let's dive in and take a look at IMDb. So first of all, in IMDb we'll go to the search area and we'll search for the top movies. So for example, we'll go to the top action movies and we see the elements that are on this page. So we see that there are many titles, many movies. We see the title of the movie, description, the score of IMDb, and we can see that we can have quite a lot of pages because there are so many titles. So in order to scrape this page, we first need to understand what do we want to scrape, and our goals here in this video are going to be just the title, the score, and the description. We don't want to scrape anything else, but that's what we chose to scrape for this video. So we can start by clicking the F12, or how I go for it is, the way I go is usually using the inspect button. So we will inspect and we can go and inspect an element. Now as you can see, if I go down here on the box of the elements, this is the Chrome native web developer tools, and so if we go here and we see the elements, we can see that here we have actually it's coloring it in a blue color when I go over it, and here you can see I click on the H3, this is the header 3, so this one's also coloring the whole header. And if I go high enough, I can see that I can scrape the whole list of all the elements. Now we don't want to go and scrape the whole list. What we want to do, we want to scrape each movie at a time, one movie at a time. So here, this is how we classify it. We can see that it's the div of lister item mode advanced. And if you can see here, you can see that there are many of these. So that means that we found the element of the movie. And again, we can just inspect an element, inspect, and we can see the exact element we want to scrape. And also here we can go and check, inspect the description. So we can see that the description is here. It's a paragraph. The class is called text muted, and it has the text of the description. Now, one quick way to see that we can actually find all of the movies is actually by clicking on the command or control F here in this elements bar, so you can search for it, and we can search by string, so we can find this lister list or any other string like Dune, or we can check a CSS selector or XPath. So in this one we're going to use a CSS selector, so I want to select all of this lister item mode, so it will be all the titles. So I'm going to click dot lister mode and lister mode advanced, and this should find all of them. So this is one. If I click return, I'm going to go to the second, the third, and so on. So this is how we go and find the parent element. And now what we can do, we can find the title. So here the title is actually, okay, it's the lister header. So under that we can use a caret, the right caret, and we can also use the dot. Dot means class. You can use the class. Okay, so we just need to use space. So then it finds the first header, second, and so on. We can select here from this list and go to the first one. So that's going to be our header, and this is how we find the various elements on the page. And now let's get to code it. So we can go ahead and open Visual Studio Code or any kind of IDE. and just create a new file. That file could be scrape imdb.py, and there we have it. I like to pop up the terminal just to check and make sure that it's working. So let's print hello. And there we go, we can see hello. Now what we need to do is we need to actually scrape the page, so we need the URL of the page. So let's go ahead and get it. So we need to import requests. Okay, this will let us actually get the page. As we said before, we said that there are various ways of scraping, and one of them is just to get the website and scrape it right after you get it, and not we are not going to interact with JavaScript, and we won't be clicking anything on the website. It's going to be just a download of the website. So we can write page equals and the page, and then we can really get it. So let's call this one page URL, and actually the page would be page requests dot get, and inside we'll just put the page URL. So now in page we'll have the page URL. So the next thing we'll need to do is we'll need to actually parse it. Now in order to do that, I'm going to use Beautiful Soup. In order to get it, you need to install it, pip install. I think it's just bs4, so you just need to install it. Beautiful Soup actually, and then we can request for it. So let's request for let's import it. So from bs4 import Beautiful Soup. Okay, so this is going to be the means of extrapolating the elements of the page. So let's get it, soup, the page.text. So we're getting the text of the page, and we're going to use an HTML parser for this one. Now let's just check before we even get it. We'll check what is in page.text. So let's print it out. Page.text, scrape it. As you can see, it's the whole page. This is the page that we saw today before, with the listed items and so on. So what we can do with it now, we can actually start scraping the various elements. So for example, we said that the movies are let's see, not the header, this one, the advanced. So this element, this is the class of our movies, this one. So what we can do, we can ask Beautiful Soup to get us all of those movies. Let's write movies equals soup.find all. It will get all of them. Find all div, because they are classified as a div. You see here, that's a div. So find all of them. The ones who are matching a class. Now in Beautiful Soup, you just write class underscore equals, and then this advanced. So now it should find us I think 50 per page. Let's see. Yes, it should find 50 items. So now what we can do, we can just check that it's working correctly. So let's print movies, the length of it, how many of those are there. So yeah, the output is 50, so there are 50 movies. Now let's get the title, but in order to do that, let's go over all of the movies. So for movie in movies, movie name. So the movie name is going to be, this div is going to have an h3 with a class of lister item header. So let's do that. So it's going to be movie find. Now this time we won't find all, we need only one element. So let's find h3 again with a class of, and we need this one. Okay, we didn't do it well. I'll just get this one. Okay, so this is the movie name. Now let's see what are we getting when we check all of the movie names. I think this would cause an error. I think we need, I don't know, but still we need the text of it. Okay, so this gets us to the text, but as you can see, it's given us more information than what we need. It gives us the number and all of those other elements. So we just need to parse it. So the best way to do it for now is just text parsing. So let's get the movie name to equal movie name, and we'll start from this dot here. You see the dot? We start from it, even one after. So let's say we are here and we are at the dot. I don't want the dot, I want the next character. So we start from the next character of the dot. So let's find the dot and add one, and until the year, because I don't want the year, so I can do movie name find, and we can find the this one, and now we can print it out and see what do we get. Okay, so we don't find anything. Let's see what did we do here. So actually we need to get only the text, and we don't need the new lines. So we should have it now, all the movie names. Okay, so now that's one part of it, and the second part is the rating. The rating, in order to find a rating, let's see, what do we need? So we need to find a rating. Okay, actually it's different, it's this one, inline block rating IMDb rating. So we can take it, we can do rating equals movie dot find, what is it? It's a div. And the class is what we pasted. Okay, and then let's check how did it go. Okay, so what we can see is that Dune had it, Squid Game had the rating, and then Dune again had it, Eternals, and in the end, after the last duel, there was no rating. Now let's see what happens after the last duel. Alright, here, so you can see here is rating, and here it is the Wheel of Time doesn't have rating yet. So we crash here, you can see we have an error, there is no text. So in order to avoid this error, what we should do is we should actually check if it's not empty. So we can do rating equals rating dot text if there is rating, else don't show anything, and now should be good. Alright, so we did double here on the text. Let's do it once. Alright, so now it's working, but it doesn't look so good, so let's trim the new lines again. And also let's make a space between them. Let's have a little bit of a space. Alright, so now as you can see we have the movie name and the rating. Let's get to the description. So this is the description. It's under text muted, but as you can see there is a few elements of text muted. So in order to see which one of the text muted, we also need to go and have a little bit of jump on some loopholes. So let's check it out. So actually what we want to do here, we want to see what's the top element. So the top element is the content. So let's do description equals movie dot find. Now we want to find a div class, and the class is lister item content. So that's the first part of it. And under this one, we need to find all of the paragraphs that are with a class of text muted. So let's find all of them. It's not only one find, it's find all of these p classes, a paragraph, but it has a class that is text muted. Now let's just check how many of these did it find. Okay, so let's print out the length of them. So let's see how many of them did we find, and let's put a space and write a description just so that we know that this is the description. Let's just print it out the next line. Okay, so as you can see, most of them have 2. Actually, all of them have 2. Okay. Now, so this could be the description finder, and then what we can do is we can actually find some element of it. So let's do description equals description finder. Now there are a few elements, and as we can see, the first one has the running time and the type, and the second one is actually the description, and it's always the second one. So what we can do, we can not go to the first element, we can go to the second element and take the text, and then let's see. Now we can try to run this program, and as you can see, we have all of the descriptions, and as usual we can just trim the new lines. Okay, so now it all falls in the same line. That's good. We've scraped the page. So far we're doing good with scraping a page. Now another thing I want to do is I want to go, now this is one page, we scraped this page. I want to go to the next one. So I'm going to check what's the element for the next page. So as you can see, it's a pretty simple element. It's an A href that has a class of lister page next page. So what I can do is, let's see, the link, as you can see here, it's gonna pop up. The link is, let's see, just copy it to the top. Search title general action, and it starts from the 51st one, and then the next page is going to start with the 52nd and so on. So that's the next page. Now here in the ahref, it doesn't give the URL, so we still need the imdb.com. So let's go ahead and find the next page element. Next page. It's going to be the IMDb website, and also soup. Now we don't go to the individual movie, we go to the whole page. So soup, and we'll find only one A element, and the class, let's see. So this is the class we need to find. Okay, now let's try to print it out. And let's remove this print so we don't have to actually print everything. Okay, so it doesn't let us concatenate it. Oh, yeah. Because what we want is we want the element of the href. We want this element and not the text. So we need to specify that we are looking for the href. Alright, and now we got double backslash, so I'm going to remove this backslash. Alright, and now we got the next page. So once we know what the next page is, don't need to print it. We can make a for loop in range of however that you want. Let's just do 10 for the sake of this example. And now we're in a new context, so we need to go and tab to it. So we can go through all the pages, and once we finish this individual page, so we want 10 of these. What we can do is we can just get the next page. Okay. And we can actually request it. So if we request here this page, this is the page URL. So maybe the first, so this is going to be next page. I'm going to just change it to next page, and then this is going to be the first page. And that's going to be the next page, and now it should be scraping 10 pages like this. So let's see. Okay, yeah. So this is the page. It should be inside. Okay, so as you can see, it's scraping another page, and another page, and another page, and it should be scraping a total of 10 of these pages. And we can also print which page are we on now each time, and also what's the number of pages. Print we are on page, and now this is the page that we are on. Alright, and then as you can see, it's always going up, like we are like this on the next page, and like this it's gonna go through 10 pages, so we should be in the 500 in the end. Yeah. Alright, so that's how we scrape the page. Now the bonus section of this video is going to be actually to show you how to save it into an CSV, because it's good enough that we got the data. Now we want to actually use pandas in order to save it into a CSV.